Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. This is the AEW Dynamite review, all out predictions, and anything else we can fit in the allotted time. I am the front man, as I'm now called, Adam Cousins, and I'm joined as ever by my AEW bro Chacho, the problem child himself, fresh off of All In, getting ready for All Out, Mr. David Robinson. Evening, bro.
Oh, mate, how you doing?
Good, good, good. It's Friday, man. It's good. It's Friday night at time of recording. So it's working week is I don't know, is a working week done for you, Dave?
No, I'm working tomorrow.
Of course it is. This man's one of the in terms of a shoot job, you want to talk one of the busiest guys in the world. That man right there is hellaciously busy. A WV heating, right? That's the
WLV.
oh shit, I missed the L out. My bad. There's me trying to give you some like you need any more work, but there's me trying to, get this out.
We
Anyone who
need engineers. That's what we need.
Yeah, any engineers out there that want fancy a job, I think this guy's your man. Go and hit him up go and hit WLV Heating up on socials and get yourself out there because they have got more work going than Tony Khan has people on his roster to play with. Let's talk about that and let's talk AEW. Actually, before we get run through the show, I found a snippet that made me laugh today about AEW. Normally, we talk news. There hasn't been a lot of massive news about AEW the last couple of weeks because obviously they've been over here in the UK. They've come back. They've done a show, and we're getting ready for another show tomorrow night at All Out. But it was a little funny snippet that I read that I don't know if you've seen a lot of them. The Outrunners, the tag team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know that they've sold more merch than Swerve Strickland?
Have they? Yeah, I know they've real gained like a bit of a cult following. They haven't won too many matches, but they've been on Rampage a lot and they've been on Collision a bit as well. And I don't think we've seen them too much on Dynamite, but yeah, they do. I don't think they're signed actually.
Don't know them.
So I think there's a big kind of thing about getting them signed. But yeah, they're very, very entertaining, very funny. But I think
Yeah,
I think they're what the tag division needs as well. I think a couple of new teams, fresh teams to come in and shake it up a little bit. And yeah, I do enjoy the Outrunners.
I saw them. I used to watch them in NWA. I used to like them as a team then, and I still do now. I always keep as I don't. Obviously, if they're on the sort of the rampages or collisions and stuff, I'll watch them. If they're on Ring of Honor, I don't get a chance to see that. But yeah, I just thought I'd bring that. And there's one other snippet actually, and it's not involving AEW as such, but it could do. Giselle Shaw requested her release from TNA and got it yesterday. Now, obviously, I think she's the girlfriend of Scott D'Amore, who's doing Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling now. They've got Mauro Ranallo, Don Callis on commentary for the promotion, and they're bringing Kenosuke Takeshita over to the brand as well. But Giselle Shaw, is that somebody that perhaps you could see in the AEW women's division?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, they've got a pretty stacked women's division at the minute, and there's
Mm.
people like Diana Peressa and Thunder Rosa, many others that we haven't seen a great deal of, particularly on Dynamite or in featured feuds. So I'm sure Tony Khan would be considering Giselle, but yeah, it's if she's I didn't realize she was in a relationship with Scott D'Amore, so yeah, maybe she finds herself in what they call Maple Leaf.
Maple Leaf, yeah, Maple Leaf Pro
Maple Leaf
Wrestling.
Wrestling. It was an old promotion, wasn't it? That's been
Yeah,
brought back.
that's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
So yeah, maybe some time on the Indies, some time there, and yeah, wouldn't surprise me if we did see her in AW at some point, even if it was just for a one-off.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. There's always room somewhere along the line. I'm sure that there will, I'm sure she will be a very sought after prospect. That's for sure. But who she'll go to, I say, I think most time Maple Leaf will be definitely the starting of Giselle. She was at Rev Pro a couple of weeks ago at the Copper
Yeah.
Box before All In. Well, obviously we went to All In. We saw each other a couple of weeks ago at the All In show, and we're moving to All Out now. We're moving to Dynamite. Lots of storytelling on Dynamite, which I like, especially before a pay. You've always got to try and sell that pay per view. You've got to try and sell the show, get it. I mean, not that you need to. I mean, the card normally sells itself. They've done a great job, and the opening of Dynamite was actually Daniel Garcia and MJF doing a promo battle as such. MJF was in the crowd at this point, and they would go to in and fro in on the microphone, a few jibes here and there by both. And in the end, MJF ended up cracking Garcia over the head with a bottle, busted him open. But really good way to start it, because their feuds kind of it went everywhere. Their feud kind of went all over, and then it stopped because of injury, and now it's come back, and it's kind of gone really well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some of the matches on the card this week, as you say, the two Pac and Ospreay kind of sells it,
Yeah,
but Swerve and Hangman. I mean, the build to
yeah,
that, the closing segment, which yeah we'll get to in due time, but the closing segment was just sensational. I thought it was really, really good. I thought Hangman's promo was awesome, and I think that's going to main event the show at the weekend.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think having the extra week between All In and All Out has helped, you
Mhm.
know, because they'd done some build and they got a few matches in place. Some of the matches were kind of shored up after All In, and then we've had a couple of additional ones as well, which they've built over the past couple of weeks. So I think All Out is looking like a really, really good show, and a strangely low amount of matches for an AEW show as well.
Yeah, I know. I looked at this the other day and I was like, it's serious. Maybe there's going to be more. I mean, Collision's being taped tonight. Obviously, there is going to be a host of matches on Collision. The winner of that we'll get to in a minute because we're going to get to that first match. But Daniel Garcia, MJF, it's good to. I mean, Daniel Garcia, not sure about contract status yet. Last time the internet spoke, he hadn't re-signed a contract yet. So, could this be a way of either he gets a win over MJF and they announce that he's signed, or is it MJF basically kills him in another way to keep him back off a bit like what they're doing with Ricky Starks?
Yeah, I can't decide really. I think just because Max just lost that big match to Ospreay as well, and you think is Max going to lose back-to-back matches at pay-per-views? But I think Garcia needs it. I think it would really help to, um, elevate him to that level, which he's kind of been on the fringe of for a while. He's hugely popular with the crowd.
Yeah.
I think he stays in AEW. I don't think he'll be going anywhere. I think he probably has already re-signed. I think I can't see him going anywhere else. I know there was interest from NXT, but I'm pretty confident that he'll stay where he is, and a reward, if you like, big pay-per-view win at All Out against MJF could be the making of him really at that next level. Um, but yeah, I find it hard to accept that Max will lose two big matches so close together. Uh, who knows? But again, another match going into the weekend that's it's had a good build, and it kicked off Dynamite, and yeah, it's so. It had nothing to do with really. I mean, I know we saw Daniel Garcia at the ending to the match at All In, but it was a separate story in many ways.
Yeah.
How it started and stuff, and it interweaved. And to be able to get two big matches out of, one story that's been split off into two, I think they're doing a good job at telling stories right now.
Yeah, they are. That's one thing that I've said that definitely this year alone started at the back end of last year with the Devil stuff. Obviously, that did peter away injuries and what have you, and they
Yeah.
had to change things around. But they've definitely done that well. Obviously they announced that Will Ospreay was going to be a member of the Conglomeration or whatever you call it for the evening, which we'll get to in a minute. Get
Yeah.
to the first match, Okada and Carl Fletcher. Look, this was an excellent match to kick off the show to a degree, kick off the action on the
Yeah.
show. Okada, Fletcher, really good complement of styles in the ring. Obviously, Okada did pick up the win. It wasn't a big surprise. It was for the championship, the Continental Championship. As I say, yeah, the
Yeah.
Continental Championship. I didn't expect Fletcher to win that. Obviously, Fletcher had his momentum from beating Ishii last week. I think Fletcher has found himself in a position right now of AEW. If you want matches and you want great matches, you shove Carl Fletcher in there. My only observation with that is I don't. He needs to start picking up some of these wins because it gets to a point where you won't necessarily be able to bring him up because he's lost so many against these top uh, talents. But in another way, it's a great bit because he's still only very young and it's a great way for him to learn and more experience by going against these guys at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. And from a consistency point of view, he's just knocking it out of the park every single time he's put in these matches. And as you say, when it's announced and you look at it and the entrances and it's for the title, you're thinking Okada's going to win, and you'd be,
Yeah.
very, very unlikely that that title's going to change hands on Dynamite without any build. And I would like to see him getting some big victories. And the way they've done it, the fact that we kind of don't expect him to win these matches, it will be great when he eventually does. But as you say, you don't want him to continuously keep losing. I suppose the situation with Mark Davis in the background as well.
Yeah.
Carl Fletcher, obviously part of Aussie Open and known really over the years a tag wrestler, showed just what he can do as a singles wrestler. Um, got his little own like name as well. The Proto Star, is he? That's what he's got on his gear. Um, but I don't know. There's certainly something with Mark Davis, isn't there? I mean, they'll bring Mark Davis back, and they're not going to bring him back as a singles and not reference the team. So there'll be a story there as well. Um, it'd be interesting, does Mark Davis join the Don Callis family? Um, but yeah, in terms of an opening match, great. And Okada he hit low blow, was it?
Yeah.
So that does protect Kyle to a degree in defeat. But yeah, great way to kick off the action.
Definitely was. So Konosuke Takeshita come out after this, and
Yeah.
basically there is three. Well, there's five matches at the moment on Collision, but three in particular that we need to pay attention to. It's Konosuke Takeshita versus the Great Mortis. It is Lance Archer, Mark Briscoe, and Orange Cassidy and Brian Keith. The three winners of those matches will go and face Okada at All Out tomorrow night. So whoever wins those matches tonight will go in tomorrow. And you could make an argument for any one of those six.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, yeah, my only criticism here, this is the second pay-per-view now back to back that Okada hasn't got a feud as such.
Yeah.
He was involved in the Gauntlet match, which was,
Mhm.
great match, but he was in that at All In, and here he is now kind of thrown into a last-minute fatal four-way. Obviously, an admission that he's got to be on the show, and they've got to get him on there somehow. But as much as we've praised AEW for the stories, it'd be good to see Okada get into some kind of a real feud, a real program with somebody because we haven't really seen that since he's landed in AEW.
No, true. And obviously, sooner or later, the Continental Classic's going to start again.
Yeah,
Going
yeah,
to bring
that's
it
coming
back.
up, isn't it? To be fair,
Yeah.
yeah, probably November time, is it?
Yeah, I think so. About a month and a half away, I think. I'm sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure Tony Khan said it was coming back.
Yeah, oh, it's definitely coming back. Yeah, and they were talking about making it bigger. They were talking about a women's tournament as well. So yeah, we'll see. But we were a huge fan of the C2 last year, and I'm really looking forward to it coming back. I'm hoping Kenny will be back and part of it by then, but I haven't really seen any updates on him lately.
No.
Um, I know initially they really wanted him to be back for All In, and I
Mm.
think that was the original plan for Kenny and Okada to face each other at Wembley.
Yeah.
But obviously, Kenny's illness has kind of and his comeback has prevented it from happening. But he'll be back at some point, and I'm hope he's part of that tournament because he wasn't in it last year, and he'd be somebody great to get in it this year.
Definitely would be. We'll wait and see what happens. One return that we did get, funny enough, at All In on the pre-show was the return of Jamie Hayter, which was fantastic for us all. It's great to see Jamie back in the division. Quite easily defeated Robin Renegade this week on Dynamite. It was a simple and effective match. It was a way to get her basically back on the track. How long do you think it's going to be before she is going to go for that title that she didn't really lose? And at the second point, who do you think she targets in this?
Yeah, this was a squash match
Mm.
essentially, just to kind of feature Jamie, show how dominant she is and how dominant she was before she went out with that injury. I think yeah, matter of time before she goes after the title. Again, she lost it, but it was kind of very
Yeah,
abrupt in how it happened because of the legitimate injury.
yeah,
So I'm sure she'll want. She lost it to Tony Storm, didn't she? So
yeah,
um, I don't know. You could see some way that she could feud with Mariah. I think that's the way she'd go. I don't think she'd go in Mercedes and TBS. I think I could certainly see her facing Mariah May. Um, you know, I don't know what's the next pay-per-view after All Out.
Wrestle Dream, isn't it?
It's Full Gear.
I thought it was Wrestle Dream.
Might be. I know Wrestle Dream's coming up, but also you've got Half Rash as well,
Grand Slam. Yeah.
Grand Slam. So there's a few big dynamites as well as more frequent pay-per-views. So I think Jamie Hayter, Mariah May would make a lot of sense.
Interesting. We'll find out for sure. Something that pricked my ears up last week on Dynamite and really got the internet abuzz was the return of John Moxley. Now he come back in Dynamite and he cut a promo, and one of the words said, "It's not your company anymore." That got people talking about Shane McMahon. Later on in the show, last week, Marina Shafir was with him, and they took out security guards. They took out security guards again this week. They did go with the elite. He did have a meeting with the elite. They called Jack Perry a sweet kid, despite what everyone thinks about him. He wants to talk to Darby Allin, and he did say he's a patient man, but he'll apply pressure if he has to. What's your feel? I mean, I'm loving it, and he's already wanted to work with Marina Shafir. He was very high up on her in an interview that he done on Renee, his wife's
Yeah.
show. Where do you think this goes? And is it intriguing you with this one?
Yeah, it's definitely intriguing, me. And there's so many unanswered questions, but I think that adds to the intrigue. We don't. We saw Danielson on commentary, and there's just no mention of him in the BCC, like what his status is within that faction. Um, they've become the Blackpool Combat Club with Pac, who again not an official member, but it's just funny that there was no reference on commentary. There's been no involvement with Moxley and the BCC at all.
No,
Uh, and that's very much by design. That's a deliberate thing. That AEW doesn't insult the fans' intelligence and pretend that stuff doesn't happen. It will be addressed in due course. But yeah, it's very cryptic, very mysterious. Um, we're imagining we're going to get a Moxley Derby feud or match. Doesn't look like it's going to happen at All Out.
nope.
Um, but obviously that's on the horizon. But in terms of what he said to Shivani last week, and he's the way he's acting and the way he's speaking, his whole demeanor, his involvement with Marina Shafir, I think it's definitely a fascinating start to the story, and yeah, I'm intrigued as to where it goes.
Does it culminate with Shane McMahon?
Quite possibly, yeah. I mean, we saw the photo that circulated online, went viral, the picture of Tony Khan and Shane McMahon talking. I think Tony came out and said that they, had a good chat about wrestling, and we didn't really kind of go into too much detail about potential relationship, but wouldn't surprise me at all. With all the surprises we've had in the last few years in wrestling, the things we didn't expect, seeing Shane McMahon in AEW, would be a surprise, but yeah, anything's possible right now, and. I don't know in what capacity as well. In what capacity would he be coming in? Would he be saying he's the owner? Does that kind of involve the elite as well? Do they kind of if Shane McMahon's doing this like hostile takeover of sorts, are the elite going to realign with Tony Khan again for to save the company? Or there's so many ways they can go. It might have no involvement with Shane McMahon at all. But obviously because of that photo, that's kind of added to this. It does feel like when Moxley came in and talked to Shivani, there was that element of like the NWO when Scott Hall turned up in WCW, and he said the line, "You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here."
Yeah,
It had that kind of vibe to it when he said, "This isn't your company anymore." That was like that was the callback I got. That was like, I don't know, I don't know why I found that quite similar. Um, so yeah, to answer your question, I can't get enough of this. And I think actually by only giving us a little bit a week, I think that's probably really good as well, and that keeps us wanting more.
it is. And again, kudos. You have to, when it's going well, you have to praise, right? And that's
Yeah.
exactly where it's going, and you have to give him credit. Where's it going? I would love to see it. Could they hold it out maybe till World's End or whatever that, is it that promo? Is that one, isn't it? World's End at the end of the year where they do
Yeah.
big
Like,
reveal. Last year was the Devil, and it didn't go well. Injuries aside, but it could, Shane could then, I don't know, we could be seeing a lot of good things by then. So we'd be
yeah.
interested.
To close the year out with Shane McMahon standing in AEW ring would be, going into 2025, that yeah, gets a lot of buzz, a lot of people talking. And again, we see Shane in matches in AEW? Do we see Shane McMahon standing across the ring from the likes of Swerve Strickland, Bryan Danielson, Hangman Page, all these people that you would never have even considered that it was a possibility. Um, that alongside over in WWE, Stone Cold potentially facing Punk, which we talked about the other week. There's
Yeah.
so much going on in wrestling, that you can't predict. We're getting stuff that we didn't think we'd ever see. And this kind of boom period just doesn't seem to be slowing down.
No, and more the merrier. Let's keep it going. Every promotion's doing great stuff at the minute, so let's keep it going for sure. Another title match on the show that again we would never have expected the title to change hands. Mariah May, Nyla Rose. I would say with this one, out of all the matches on Dynamite, this one was the one that kind of felt a bit all over the place to me, a little bit.
The
It what?
start for me, yeah, I think
Mm,
actually as the match went on, it did get better,
mm.
and there was a few good spots in it. I think Mariah May is great, but you could tell that these two hadn't worked with each other much before. They tried the slap thing at the start, and it
Mm.
just didn't seem to kind of land properly, or it just didn't seem to go as well as perhaps they expected it to. But yeah, as the match went on, it was a decent match, and obviously Mariah wins with the Storm Zero.
She did, yeah. There was a bit where Nyla hit the world's strongest slam on her, and she rolled out the ring. Looked like I was having quite an awkward conversation with Aubrey at that point. I'm not quite sure if you picked up on that.
Yeah, there was a talk, and then she did kind of the trip onto the steps. So yeah, it was just a bit disjointed at times.
Mm.
Uh, wasn't bad, but as you say, probably the weakest offering on this week's show.
Yeah, definitely so. And these matches happen. You put two people in there, you never know, do you? That's the thing. Sometimes the people with the greatest chemistry it doesn't work.
Yeah,
Sometimes, and this was a case today. It just didn't work for me personally. Did get to see a new version of Diona Perazzo in the mob. Looked like a mob boss. So I'm interested to see where that goes. We'll probably get into that as we do reviews later on down the line. They had a one with my least favorite woman of the world, Mercedes Moné. Currently. She's got here Hikaru Shida coming up at All Out. Again, we're not expecting Shida to win the match. However, they did make it a little bit interesting by banning Camille from ringside.
yeah,
But I think they said they've got a plan though.
yeah. Leveled the playing field in terms of Camille's been getting involved with Mercedes matches since she's come in. So yeah, I think that adds a nice, a different element to it. As you say, I can't see Mercedes losing that title anytime soon. But I think it'll be, I hope it will be a good match. I know you're not a great fan of her, but
Never was.
no, no, but at times I have really enjoyed her stuff, and she's definitely a better heel than face.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And she is phenomenal. So yeah, I'm kind of happy for her as well that she's getting like such a prominent match on the card, for the women for the TBS title, sorry.
Mm.
She could be the first woman in AEW to hold both the TBS and the women's championship. So could be a little bit of history there should she win it. But yeah, I expect Mercedes to, one way or another, come away with the gold.
Yeah, they did say they had a plan, so
Yeah.
we'll have to see what that plan is. There was a lot of title matches, World's Trios titles on the line here. The Pac Ball Combat Club, as you so nicely mentioned, against the con. I'll get this right one day. The Conglomeration. Is that?
Conglomeration.
Thank you, Conglomeration. Thank you. We had Will Ospreay in it this year.
Yeah.
Because obviously Pac's taken on Ospreay All Out. This look when you say that when you look at the people in this ring, you knew that this match was going to be absolutely excellent, and it really was. It was so good. Everyone in this match played their part. I absolutely loved it. I believe like both factions in a way are currently untouchable and they will deliver whatever spot you put them in. Even if it's a Mark Briscoe promo, it'll be the best promo of the night. It'll make you laugh. It will do. And I think he done one earlier on actually that
Yeah,
night.
it did,
Said
yeah.
that Will was coming in. It was just so good, and it also served as a really good teaser for what's to come tomorrow night at All Out. But I just thought this was perfect.
Yeah, yeah. And again, really enjoyed the Bristow backstage promos, the conglomeration. I'm glad Kyle O'Reilly's getting a decent run on the show as well. And we're seeing him up against some of the best AEW has to offer. Some of the technical transitions
Mm,
in the bit with Yuta was great. Um, Also, I thought Orange Cassidy and Claudio have got really good chemistry as well. I think we've seen them face each other in the past, but
mm.
I'd definitely like to see that one-on-one match at some point. Um, but Pac and Ospreay stole the show. You know, we've got that little teaser for the weekend, and then we got
Yeah,
the kind of closing angle. They fought to the backstage, and
yeah.
Pac he had a brain buster, didn't
Brainbuster.
he,
Mm,
on the cases, or
yeah.
he kind of got the upper hand, and he said, "Don't underestimate me at your peril, William." So now a strong message to Ospreay going into that, and that is just going to be awesome. I mean, Ospreay's just won the title back. I expect Will would be my prediction to win the match, but I think that is going to be a sensational match, and I think again we've done it before. We've spoken about Pac, like in the main title picture.
Mhm.
And I think sooner or later he's got to be given that opportunity to be the main guy in the company. I know he's had injuries, but I just think he's too talented not to have a world title run, or at least be in that conversation and be in that picture for a sustained period. And he's gonna show that against Ospreay on Saturday night.
Yeah, he did try that. He did try the poison rama again, didn't he, on the stage?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he got that. He got it right last week. He didn't get it right this week. But you
I
say,
loved as well the setup for the hidden blade on Yuta. I thought that would look really
brilliant.
cool. I know he didn't hit it, but how Yuta kind of rose up and the camera panned to him, and Will was behind and he took off the elbow pad. I thought that was great. That again, like you said, the caliber of wrestler in this match, it should always have been good, but it was sensational. It was better than I anticipated. I didn't love the swing into the drop kick for the finish.
Mm.
I think they could
Bit of a
probably.
weak one, that isn't it?
Yeah, I'd prefer them to have a better tandem finisher, even if it was just the neutralizer, or something that has been used kind of as a finisher for one of the either Yuta or Claudio. That kind of swing into a low drop kick. We've seen that as a move that's kind of been kicked out of, never really finishes the match. It's the
Mm.
same when Jericho tapped out when he was in the giant swing. I didn't love that either. That was a few months ago, when Claudio beat him for the Ring of Honor title. So I think Wheeler and Claudio could do with a better tag team finisher. But in terms of the match itself, it was fantastic.
You are getting the pin though, which is what we've alluded to quite a lot. He was been the fall guy quite a bit for the Blackpool Combat Club, so it's nice to see the roles reversing a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, there was an attack from the Elite. Jack Perry come out. Danielson got involved. Danielson's going to kick Perry's head in, fucking head in. Sorry, should I say? Tomorrow night. We'll get into that. So we're going to do predictions in a minute. You mentioned Ospreay. Now, this is fucking. This is a way you could sell a pay-per-view just by the end of this. We're going to be doing a top 10 soon of top 10 feuds, and I'm putting this one in there. And I'm not going to put many AEW. Well, actually, this is the only AEW feud that's going to go in there because, in my opinion, it's been the only AEW feud that's well, they've kind of done. They've only been going 5 years, so it's difficult to, you could reel off great matches or a combination of matches. But in terms of feud that culminates a storyline with a load of matches and keeps you engrossed, we're going to get to it right now. So it was announced on social media that Swerve Strickland had bought his childhood house, the house that he grew up in, with his bonus money from re-signing with AEW. Now they were going to do a contract signing. They did. Swerve signed the contract. Hangman was nowhere to be seen. Cut to the video screen. There's Hangman in a house. Whose house, Dave?
Swerve's house.
So I had to get it. I had to get it. He's in Swerve's house. He's talking about how Swerve entered his house, and if you go back to the feud, Swerve did break into Hangman's house, go into his daughter's room or his kid's room, boy or girl, I don't know. And they done that side of it. So Hangman is in Swerve's house, and he's talking about that and everything else, and he then starts pouring gasoline on the inside of the house, and you can see Swerve. And if you remember the look that Hangman was doing back on the Dynamite, that when Swerve broke into his house was kind of Swerve was doing his own version of that. And Hangman then pours the gasoline. He goes outside, he sits on a chair, and he basically said who's burning to the ground, whose house, Swerve's house, and with that sets the house on fire, sipping a whiskey as well. Tremendous. And I didn't really know because when they had the Texas Death Match and Swerve won, I said to you that I didn't want to see this feud for a while. Hangman come back and it looked like they were starting it up again, and I wasn't sure about it. They let it go and they kind of pushed it to the side. Swerve was champion, and then Hangman obviously come out all in and helped. Not didn't necessarily cost Swerve the match. There was more to it than that, but got involved in Swerve losing what the most important thing in Swerve's life. He's now burnt the house down. I'll go back and say this feud reminds me a bit of John Cena and Edge. If you remember John Cena and Edge, it dulled down for a while. They had this big feud, it dulled down. Edge then cost Cena the heavyweight championship at ECW One Night Stand to Rob Van Dam, and then it started up again. This is the feud that's kind of worked, and it was absolutely tremendous, Dave. I've loved every bit of this. They've now since changed the match from a cage match to a lights out cage match, an unsanctioned lights out cage match tomorrow night. But Dave, this was, we said about having a perfect match. This was a perfect storyline ending to a show leading to a pay-per-view.
Yeah, in terms of go home angles, it's one of the best AEW has ever
I
done.
think it was the best
Yeah, and you
ever
talk
done.
about, the best feuds, and you're right, we could put forward so many matches,
Mm.
that could make top 10 matches, particularly of the last 10 years.
Oh yeah.
But in terms of feuds, we've had a few good ones, don't get me wrong. We've had stuff with Eddie Kingston,
Yeah.
Punk, MJF, but this has just gone on for so long and it hasn't felt like it's dragged on. We've wanted to see more of it. They've given us it at times and then they've held back and they've stayed in the background and involved with each other. And Hangman started off as a babyface, Swerve was the heel.
Yeah.
They've pretty much flipped that completely now. That Hangman is all out heel and Swerve is all out babyface, going off this go home angle.
Mhm.
Um, Even though we get, those shades of grey with Swerve and he's just allowed to be himself, Hangman was kind of the good guy still. You had sympathy for him because of what had happened to him, and you kind of like, well, yeah, he's well within his right to hate Swerve and to want to ruin him, but he's just taken it to that next step now, and he looked quite happy. That's the happiest we've seen him look. He doesn't look conflicted. He doesn't look angry. He looked like it was the best day of his life. Finally, been able to kind of get one up on Swerve. Swerve was vulnerable, and we haven't really seen that. Swerve has always been one step ahead, and for Hangman to, I certainly didn't expect it. Obviously, when he didn't come out the first time and they played his music again, I knew they were going in a different direction from a standard contract signing, which I was glad because I'm not a massive fan of
Oh,
contracts.
annoying me.
Um, but so yeah, from a potential contract signing and pull apart brawl or someone go through a table to actually what we got was kind of, yeah, blew me away really. I thought it was really, really good. I'm not sure how they shot it, whether it was legitimate, they really set a house on fire, whether it was CGI, because Hangman looked at quite close to it, that fire, like from where he was sitting on the chair. And I mean, it looked really good to the TV audience, but I did hear the crowd chanting, "This is awkward." So I don't know if it didn't really play out as well as it did on TV in the arena, maybe. I'm not sure. But yeah, minor thing really, because I thought it was great and a match that I was already looking forward to, and has probably sold a lot of tickets and pay-per-views for AEW. Um, will sell even more off the back of what happened at Dynamite.
I believe it was a green screen. Um,
Yeah,
but who cares? It was it.
maybe that was more obvious that it was a green screen to the. I don't know, but there was the "This is awkward" chant.
I
But
didn't care. Like I just loved
yeah,
it. I thought, what a great way to get your own back on that bastard that entered your house and when it walks into your kids' room, And
yeah,
I kind of agree with Hangman on that. It's like you
yeah,
do that, man. You get some payback, and payback's a bitch, sunshine, and
yeah.
it was great. But let's
He-
get
For so long, he's just been obsessed though, and like he's
yeah.
just been like off the rails. But this, even though committing like such a heinous crime of arson and setting Swerve's house on fire, he totally looked like a pig in shit. He is just the happiest we've seen Hangman ever. We've seen him like anxious and questioning himself and confused and not sure. And even going back to last week when Swerve confronted him and there was no physicality and Hangman just walked off.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, and that wasn't a surprise really because of Hangman's character and seeing that
Mm.
over the years. So for this week to get this was a great little twist. Perhaps a plot twist we didn't really, maybe we should have when Swerve was talking about the house earlier on in the Dynamite, but
Mm.
I didn't suspect anything until he was standing in the house and starting to pour the petrol. I was like, okay, I know what's going down here.
I just wonder how they're gonna like. The only thing I wonder is how they're gonna like say that Hangman didn't get arrested.
Yeah,
Set someone's house on.
wrestling. That's right. If anybody ever
It's
questions
wrestling,
it, you
right? I
just
mean,
say wrestling.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You can sleep with dead people, and you can do all sorts of things behind the scenes. But yeah, in wrestling and get away.
Nights in supermarkets and
Yeah, everything. There is no
off bridges.
there is no law in wrestling you can get away with. I mean, but Eric Young got stabbed on TNA once
Yeah.
to write him out. So who knows? But a brilliant way to end it. All out now. Let's go on with it. Again, this match list is the matches that are announced as of 20 to 9 on a Friday night, taken again from Wikipedia, so in no particular order the matches, just in case anyone starts moaning. There is amazingly only 8 matches at the minute on the card, which is very short for AEW show, but that's good in a lot of ways. It means the matches might get time. Will Ospreay pack? You said Ospreay. I think I'm going to agree with you, but that's just going to match potentially for me. Well, you look at some of these matches on the card and you think match of the night, match of the night, match of the night, but these two are going to deliver.
Yeah, I would love this to be a program. I expect Ospreay to win this match,
Yeah.
but I hope we get more and more, and perhaps Pac's the man to get that international title off Will down the line, and then Will can go on to the world title picture. But I'm not saying straight away back to back, that it can be padded out, but I hope this is a rivalry that we get a lot of in the next couple of years. But I think Ospreay, after just winning the title back, I'm pretty confident he's going to defend it successfully on All Out.
Do we get anything with Ricochet after this?
Possibly, yeah. He wasn't on Dynamite, was he this week?
Not on Dynamite, not on Collision as of this podcast.
Yeah, so quite possibly, yeah, could have some involvement. I wouldn't expect a heel turn or anything like that, but obviously they were kind of flirting with the Ospreay Ricochet match,
Mhm.
and then Pac attacked Ospreay from behind. So yeah, we could even get a potential triple threat match with those guys down the line as well, which that will like mind blowing. Yeah, that'll be a sensational match as well. So I'm sure they'll be in each other's spheres, moving forward, and we're going to get a lot of back and forth, singles, tags, triple threats. But yeah, in terms of this match, regardless how it finishes, I think Ospreay will win.
Yep, definitely. I agree with you on that one. The next one on the list is the AEW Tag Team Championships. The Young Bucks against Yuta and Claudio. I'm expecting the Young Bucks to retain this one, to be quite honest with you. I don't think with the Blackpool Combat Club winning the trios. I know Dustin Rhodes does it in Ring of Honor. I think I don't see the Combat Club beating nearly on this occasion.
Yes, interesting, isn't it? How we've got in Ring of Honor, we've got a team that have got, or somebody that's got the tag titles and
Yeah.
the trios. Then we could be looking at a situation in AEW where the team has got the tag titles and the trios. Um, I, I expect my predictions are the Young Bucks, but this could be a bit of a curveball. I don't necessarily expect it to, but I would be massively surprised if Utah gets the win, and they're holding double gold, if you like, at
Mm.
the close. I think it's going to be a great match, as we saw with Utah and Claudio in the trios match at the end of Dynamite. It's going to be a great match. Thrown together a little bit last minute, so yeah, I don't anticipate there's going to be a title change. Maybe we see the grizzled young veterans as again. Maybe they'll get involved,
Yeah.
because they look like they're going to be in the tag title picture moving forward. But yeah, I think this is a perfectly, acceptable pay-per-view match, and I think it'll be a good match.
Yeah, me too, mate. GYV, yes, very much so. I just hope Wheeler don't take the fall after getting the fall this week. But yes, GYV attacking the Combat Club, I think's a good shout on that one.
Yeah,
And again, another fresh team, as you
yeah,
mentioned.
exactly, yeah.
I know we saw them previously for a little run, but another fresh team. And the match that I thought had a championship doesn't have a championship, which is Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander. You called it last time we predicted a street fight. You get the extra bonus point already before the show's already
Yeah, I
begun.
don't know. There's a Chicago street fight. Yeah,
Oh, you didn't say Chicago, you said Chicago. I mean, I could nick a half point off.
I think I did. I think I did.
Well, did you?
Watch it back.
I'll have to go back through. Anyway, no, I'll give you the point. Chicago Street Fight. I'm going Statlander, but I thought a title was on the line, but I've just checked the poster and there isn't one on the line.
No.
There was a CMLL title, but it's not.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm going Statlander anyway.
Bit of a grudge match, but yeah, I think Statlander's got to win this as well. Willow and Ishii got the win at All In,
Yeah.
which is what we've said as well. And yeah, off the back of that, I think Statlander will win the street fight.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so we've got to do two picks here. There's a lot more points up available. So it's Okada, and I'm going for Okada to win, by the way, as well. But there's also who out of the four people does Okada, or out of the six that we're going to get tonight? And he actually tweeted it's Okada versus bitch, bitch, and bitch, apparently.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Okada, and it's going to be Takeshita or Mortos. That's an interesting one because Mortos has been on a really good run. I think Takeshita will get in there, but I wouldn't rule out a Mortos upset.
Yeah, I think Takeshita will win it as well. But we've seen it's Black, what was his name? Black Puma or Black Taurus? Black
Beast.
Taurus.
Oh, Black Taurus was his name in
Yeah,
TV. Yeah.
before, yeah. And yeah, I think he's been a great addition to the roster. I wouldn't be upset if he was in the Fatal Four Way, which again, same as you, I expect Okada to win, but I think it'll be Takeshita to take that spot.
Takeshita takes that spot. Lance Archer or Mark Briscoe. I think it's going to be Briscoe, but I would love Lance Archer to get some sort of run in AEW.
Same, same. I'm really conflicted with that. I'm really enjoying Mark Briscoe's work at the minute. But we're big fans of Lance. We always have prior to even getting him on the podcast, and there's been a lot of confusion as to why we don't get a bit more of him and a bit more of a sustained run. I'm not sure if he's still doing stuff in Ring of Honor with the Righteous. He just seems to have disappeared again, which has happened so many times during his AEW run. So I would love to see Lance Archer at All Out in Chicago in that Fatal Four Way. I'm tempted to go for him just to because at the minute we both predicted exactly the same. But yeah, Mark Briscoe is the Ring of Honor champion, so it's going to be Briscoe. I think I'm going Briscoe.
Yeah, and the last one, Orange Cassidy, Brian Keith of the Learning Tree. I don't think you can't have an AEW without Orange. So I love Brian Keith. I love his work. I haven't seen enough of him in ring since obviously joining the Learning Tree, but I can't look past Orange in that.
Yeah, I think it'll be Orange, and then you've got two members of the Conglomeration in the match with him and Briscoe. And again, I don't think we're in a position where that faction is going to have any kind of dissension or anything like that. But the fact that them two are in the match and Kyle's not, maybe something comes of that. I'm not sure. But yeah, I definitely think Orange is, out of all of those three matches, I think Orange is the biggest favourite. Yeah, again, I really, really like to see Lance Archer in it, but we'll see. But yeah, Orange in that one. So we've got Orange, Briscoe,
Let's go.
Esta,
Yeah.
and Okada,
Yeah.
and Okada wins.
Yeah, me too. I agree with that. The one I'm torn, the one I really don't know, MJF, Daniel Garcia. I don't know. You made a great point. MJF losing two straight big pay-per-view matches. I just can't see it. I really can't. I think he'll find a way. Although this week on Dynamite, because he bloodied Garcia, you do kind of think maybe Garcia may do like one of those fluky little roll-ups or something like that to get the victory. I just don't see MJF losing two straight pay-per-views at this moment in time. Or does he get DQ'd? That's the other possibility. I'm going to stick my neck out and say MJF, but not clean.
Yeah, I just think the way they've built Garcia, it would be really anticlimactic for him to lose. As
That's
you said,
it.
there's ways of doing it. But yeah, like you said about the roll up, we saw that in the C2 last year when he got that big win against Brody. Um, and then he went on a bit of a run after that and
Yeah.
similar, he was winning with a few roll ups. Yeah, I'm going to go with Garcia just to make it a bit more interesting.
You go with Garcia. You do that, and we'll see what happens there. Mercedes, Monet, Shida. We both kind of agree with Monet on that
Yeah.
one. I don't think there's any. Camille is banned from ringside. They've got a plan. What is the plan? We'll find out. We can't really do an extra point for that because we have no fucking clue what that's going to be. The next one on the list was Danielson, Jack Perry. I think we know where we're going with this one, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not the final countdown just yet for Danielson.
No, but again, I think it's a great choice of an opponent because whoever it was going to be, after that big moment at Wembley, whoever he was facing, Danielson's going to win.
Yeah.
So Jack Perry, it's not going to hurt him losing to the world champion.
No,
He's in, which won't be the main event. We don't think it's going to be the lights
no.
out, so that's going to close the show.
Mhm.
But a big world title match against one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, that can only be a good thing for Jack Perry's career, regardless if he wins or loses. I've really enjoyed his work since he's come back as the scapegoat. Really have. I think actually the Punk stuff he's come out of it pretty good actually. I like his role in the Elite. Um, I like what he's done with the TNT title as well.
Yeah.
I like his whole presentation, his theme. I think he's somebody that at times as Jungle Boy, I know when he was like in Jurassic Express and a tag wrestler, he was popular. But then as a singles character, I think he didn't quite have it. There was something missing. And he's found whatever it was that was missing. And I think he's a lot more entertaining and a lot more of an overall performer. Really good as well, confident talking, which I
Yeah.
didn't think we'd be saying that after some of his promos a year or
Yeah.
two. They weren't good, were they?
No.
And we thought that's probably why he was working alongside with Christian, and but however he's done that in terms of his confidence and the way he talks, and whether it's live or whether it's in pre-recorded packages, I think he's really give a good account of himself. So I think this will be a good match, but I think Danielson will be retaining the world championship.
Anything with Christian on this bit? 'Cause he's got the title shot whenever he wants.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Again, they didn't really do
Tease
anything.
it. Really?
Didn't do any kind of tease on Dynamite. Maybe they'll do something on Collision with Christian. Um, yeah, not sure. It's a different kind of feel going into an AEW pay-per-view when there are so few matches. Well, not few. There's enough. There's plenty like that. That I'm very satisfied with that card right now, and I hope it doesn't change. Maybe there'll be one more match on the buy-in or zero era or something, which they always do a kind of pre-show. But all those the 8 matches we're talking about, are all going to be on the main card. Um, yeah, maybe there's some involvement from Christian as well. Maybe we see him appear, but regardless, I think Danielson wins. And
Yeah.
even if Christian does kind of call his shot, cash in, whatever you want to say, Danielson leaves all out champion.
He will do. I mean, Darby Allin's up as well at Grand Slam. You'll get an opportunity at Danielson. Then last one, lights out, steel cage. I just feel Hangman. I said this at the Texas Death Match. He has to win it, and I think, and he didn't win the Texas Death Match, and I don't think he won any of the two matches I think they've had. For me, Hangman has to win this one, and I
Yeah,
think he will. It makes sense, Swerve done that whole thing in the house and then won the Texas Death Match off the back of it. I feel Hangman has to do the same here.
yeah, I think Hangman's got the edge going in, given the way Dynamite closed out, and he's due a win. Um, Again, I don't think this will be the end of their feud. Maybe for now. Maybe this will be the last match we see between them for a while. But I think that it's been such a personal feud and such great matches. Um, I think that they're going to be a feature of AEW long term. I think they'll always be kind of hating on each other and crossing paths. Again, but in terms of this match, I think Hangman needs the win, and I think he will win the match.
There we go. That's all.
Might even get some help from the Elite. It wouldn't completely surprise me now. Hangman's going in a more of a heel direction rather than a conflicted direction. Um, that he kind of realigns himself with Matthew and Nicholas.
Interesting. We'll have to wait and see. All Out tomorrow night. If you haven't already purchased the pay-per-view, go ahead and do it. We'll be back to review that. We'll say top tens. I've got an impromptu interview. I'm interviewing CJ Carter Monday ahead of Ignite show next Sunday, and then after that interview, I'm also sitting down. It's a very impromptu email exchange with the former WWE talent Justin Gabriel. We'll be having a chat with him on Monday as well. We'll be back with all sorts of stuff. So keep it on here. HTT Buckle on X, and it's now our YouTube handle, HTT Buckle. So make sure you don't, well, you can put in the Turnbuckle podcast in still, it'll still come to us. But HTT Buckle is a new handle on Twitter and on the new handle on YouTube. Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast is the handle on Instagram. Dave, it's been a pleasure. Let's do this again very, very soon. And we will watch All Out. Not together, but we'll watch it and enjoy it, and we'll have a chat about it. But guys, he has been my problem child. We've got the problem Marina Shafir. We've got the problem child Dave Robinson. I've been the front man, Adam Cousins, and you have been watching the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. Until next time, everybody. Dave, please serenade us away.
Yeah, I'm ready this time.
You ready?
Stop last time. Time to bid you all adieu, goodbye, mwah, and good night. Bang.
Stay elite, everybody.